Hello, good evening, happy Saturday. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend. Welcome to Late Night Comfort. I am one of your hosts, Wes Franks. I am the founder and creative director of Carrion Comfort Studios. My pronouns are he, they, and I'm so glad that you could join us. We have a very special guest for you this evening. But before we do that, I would like to have my other host introduce himself. Huh?
Yeah, it's me, Derrick. You know me from the things. Also known as the Phasing Octopus. You know, I do the musics and I play the video games.
Exactly. Derek, how has your weekend been, buddy? How's it been?
It's been cool. We went to the indie race earlier today. That
We
was
did.
tight.
We did. It was
Uh,
super fun.
yeah. So how did I do?
It's, I,
We
I've got a little
managed
bit
to
of
dodge
color
the
on my
rain.
face. Yeah, we did dodge the rain.
Yeah. The
We
museum's cool.
The museum's dope. So if you don't know, me and Derek live in Birmingham, Alabama, which is it's a small town that's in a big city, type of feel. But we have a historic racetrack called Barber Motorsports Park, that is outside of town, and it is owned by the Barber Dairy Company. But it is a place that has not only a racetrack where they host a multitude of events, including like Moto America, like motorcycle Grand Prix. They do Indy Grand Prix, GT Grand Prix stuff, different time trials, road races. The Porsche driving experience is there, and it is a very just like a very beautiful, wide open racetrack. But there's also a museum there, and there's millions upon millions of dollars worth of like historic motorcycles and cars. They have like a whole Lotus section. They have a whole section for Yamaha and Harley and BMW and all these other rad, just like cars and motorcycles. And it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's one of my favorite places in Birmingham. But we got to go to a race today. It's the Honda Indy Grand Prix this weekend. And Derek was able to score us some tickets, me, him, and Oz. So we went today. And I believe they're going tomorrow. I'm going to try to go tomorrow if I can't get my shift covered at work. But if I can, I understand completely. But yeah, it was fun. Did you have fun? I had fun.
Hell yeah, I had fun. Cars go vroom.
Cars go vroom. Exactly. Cars go vroom. We had uh, massive sandwiches and lemonade, and
Yeah, that sandwich was big.
the sandwich was big. It was way too big. But then, yeah, no, we had a great time. We discovered, or we found out, a new type of racing,
Yeah.
that we did not know about. That's like Australian as fuck, and great, called Radical Racing. So I can't wait to watch more of that. That's gonna be fantastic. So we've talked a little bit. Oh, it's not a left turn track. It is a road race track. So there are turns, there are embankments, there are curves, all the way. There are
Yeah.
switchbacks and hairpins, all that good stuff. It is not Talladega Super Speedway, which is the other racetrack that we're known for in Alabama. But no, before we get started and introduce our wonderful guest for this evening, our very special guest for this evening, who I'm very excited to be talking to, we have a couple of sponsors to go through. We have to do the sponsor. I have to make a sponsor ad copy. I have to make it to money. I have to at least try to convince you to help support us by supporting our sponsors. And you can do that by first starting off hearing about Callow. Callow Energy is a game-focused plant-based supplements company that we have partnered with, and I use in my daily life. I use Q Focus to help me stay focused when I'm playing video games or making overlays and stuff of that nature. And I use Q Energy, the powdered energy drinks that they just released, to help me stay energized and not have as much crash. And it gives me a boost, as opposed to other energy drinks like Monster or Red Bull. Be sure to use our code COMFORT at checkout to earn. Goodness gracious. There we go. I had a little oopsie. Be sure to use our code COMFORT at checkout to earn 10% off of your Callow purchases now. So if you hit exclamation point Callow and the chat, if you also check out our About section down below, you can click their logo and it'll take you there. Go check them out and see if their products are right for you. Speaking of being right for you, Dice Envy. If you are ever looking to grab some dice to fill your coffers, then consider using our referral link in chat and in our About section to grab a very special set from Dice Envy just for you or others. Dice Envy provides high-quality handcrafted dice at a very reasonable price, but they don't just offer dice. They also provide dice trays, dice bags, and more. Make sure to use the code COMFORT at checkout as well to get 10% off of your Dice Envy order. This bag right here is all of my Dice Envy dice. I've got tons of them. As you can tell, I really like their products. I like their wooden dice, and they make tons of other dice, metal dice, gemstone dice, things of that nature. Go check them out. 10% off of your order using code COMFORT at checkout, or if you click the link down below or in the chat right there. And last, but certainly not least, we have 1985 Games. If you haven't heard 1985 Games, they are the creators of Dungeon Craft, an affordable way to upgrade. Oh, pardon me, burpee baby. To upgrade campaigns from hand-drawn maps to stunning visual worlds. Unlike many terrain solutions on the market, Dungeon Craft is priced to allow any gamer to upgrade their campaign with over 1,000 cutout pieces without having to spend the equivalent of a dragon's hoard. I have some of their add-ons right here. So they make battle maps, they make miniatures, and a bunch of other fine products, and I have 2 expansions here. I've got Baba Yaga's Hut and the Haunted Forest expansion right there, and it also has like some cool dungeons. And then I've got a castle expansion here, which is also really cool. And they're like double-sided, they're like cut-outable. They have battle maps that you can like add on these things onto them. Very cool, very inexpensive, and it provides a little bit more depth to your games. I've got these right here. These are awesome. I've got to send these out in the mail because 2 people won these in a giveaway. Speaking of giveaways, we've got Deck of Story cards here. If you don't know what Deck of Stories is, Deck of Stories are story prompts, plot hooks, NPCs, magic items, and enemies that you can use in your own game. Sometimes it's hard to come up with stuff on the fly as a Dungeon Master, and 1985 Games has made the Deck of Stories. You can get their starter decks, which come in standard, different options there, but you can also get these really cool booster packs. So they've kind of gamified this whole process where you can get these booster packs that you get different like random prompts. This one is Hell, so you can use this for your Baldur's Gate Avernus campaign or anything that goes into the different Hell realms that are in your game. Then we've got Gears, so if you like to play Eberron or other diesel/steampunk type games, then go ahead and check those out right there. And then finally, we've got the NPC Pack 01. So right now I'm holding on to these. I haven't opened these up because I already have some for myself. I've got some extra ones here, and we're doing a giveaway for these during Kingdom Hearts Interstitial War on Friday nights. If we hit an average of 30 viewers at any point during the show, then we'll be giving away one of these. And it happens every time we hit 30 average viewers. So go ahead and tell your friends to go check out Kingdom Hearts Interstitial War. If you're not caught up, you can get caught up on YouTube right now. And let's see if we can get a giveaway going for this stuff. Derek,
Yeah.
you think I've done the ad copy properly?
Yeah, they know to get the things.
Perfect. Go ahead and get the things to go ahead and help us out. And by the way, I got to mention 1985 Games. Use code COMFORT like all of our other sponsors. Use code COMFORT at checkout. That gets you 10% off of your order, which helps out with shipping and things of that nature. And only if you have free shipping, that covers the taxes. It's pretty great. So I am very, 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 very happy to introduce you our very special guest for tonight. He is a writer. He is a content creator, a streamer, a dungeon master, has been showcased on the front page of Twitch before, has run a multitude of charity games, has been involved in other projects, and also was Milo Thatch and our very own Kingdom Hearts Interstitial War in an episode that took place in the world of Atlantis. You know him, you love him. Please give a big round of applause for Brandon, also known as Ashen Works. Excellent.
Hey,
Excellent.
thanks for reminding me I was on front page. God.
Yeah, you were on front page. That was like, I remember having that conversation at like Queen and Rook. I don't know if you remember having that conversation, but Queen and Rook
Yeah, I wasn't drinking enough then, so yeah.
Yeah. I was just kind of hanging out on the edges of that conversation because I was in a different state of being I was in a different plane, but I was just kind of paying attention and stuff. I pay attention to things like that. I'm a very observant person.
But yeah, it was on Jordan's channel last summer for the charity streams.
That is, yes.
I think that was a Citadel of Bones. So that had a necromancer that had built like this whole castle out of bone and was trudging through the material plane, and then charity things happen and you get strawed as a Draco Lich, because that's just how that works.
That sounds amazing, but also very, very terrifying. Very, very terrifying. I am so glad to have you here, Brandon. I just have to know, who are you and how did you get here?
Hi, I'm Brandon, aka Ashen Works. Wes found me on Craigslist. No, I'm joking. I've been in the tabletop scene since about 2019, been playing since 2012, and got my start writing with the RPG Writer Workshop, and then streaming, actually, again, thanks to Jordan, when we were doing stuff for our good friend Punkle Nix. So, been streaming for about 3 years now, and writing for probably longer than that, maybe.
Yeah, I've managed to catch some of your streams, a handful of them, of you just like working through stuff. I really like how you like work through and you just work through writing lore on stream and everything like that. You have a good process, especially when you're going through Blades in the Dark and you're kind of like breaking down Blades in the Dark for the chat and everything like that. Very, very cool. I think we'll talk more about Blades in the Dark later. But I have a very important question for you. Do you like my shirt, Brandon?
Yes, I do. It is a very nice shirt. And it goes well with the jacket.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that.
You always dress well, Wes. I just want you to know that.
That means a lot to me too. I used to be dripless and maidenless, and I think over COVID, if I taught anything, it was how to feel comfortable in my own skin, and that's by wearing off the wall graphic tees, long sleeve shirts that have graphics printed on the sleeves with Cuban link chains and other random stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Awesome, excellent. Derek, why don't you go ahead and kick us off on this, huh? You seem eager for a question over here.
All right, so where are you from?
So that's a long question. So I originally grew up in Arkansas, the southeast middle of nowhere corner of Arkansas. So started there, did a quick stint over in Mississippi, and then spent 4 years at college at Louisiana. And then from there it was North Carolina, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Texas. I think that's it. So I've hit up the New England area, the East Coast, and the South pretty predominantly across 26 years.
You just got to grab the Midwest and the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast, and you're going to have it all. You're going to be like Thanos.
Yeah, but I'm really hoping not to move again.
Yeah.
That shit's so expensive now.
It is very expensive. It's very expensive. Your track record of moving kind of reminds me of my own process. I have lived in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, West Virginia, Louisiana, Florida, and then Virginia for a little bit. Kentucky. I was born in Kentucky. So yeah. Mostly the South though.
Yeah. Well, all of the South was by choice. New England was work, because I was in electronic sales for 2.5 years. Though it was with Texas Instruments, so that gets weird.
Okay, all right. Okay.
So, yeah.
I get it. What about you, Derek? You moved around any places?
No. Like, I've been in Alabama, like, living, I've only been in Alabama. Like, traveled all over the place, but only lived in Alabama.
Interesting. We have the whole gamut. We've got a full spectrum of people about moving. Perfect. Excellent. I always think it's important to get to know somebody by knowing where they came from, so you can kind of understand like their upbringing, and also understanding how many times they moved. That also kind of leans into how they are and who they are and things like that. From you moving around and you being, you know, a person who was once a small person, what is one of your favorite pastimes? What is something that you've always like, just like always enjoyed? It's not like a new favorite thing, but like
Yeah, always enjoyed. Oh, that's easily video games. Like I've been playing video games since I was 2 on the Sega Genesis with like Sonic the Hedgehog. So that has always been a hobby of mine. And then my dad was super into it too. So it'd be like our weekends were spent playing probably games I shouldn't have been playing for my age. Now that I think about it, but you know, Halo, Grand Theft Auto, Gears of War.
yeah.
And Joy just threw me off because dropped the fake OnlyFans name in the chat. Thanks. Love that for us. But yeah.
That's what she's here for. That's what I hired her for. I told you we were going to throw curveballs at you.
You did. You did warn me about this. But yeah, I think for me, it's always been video games. It's always been something that I've had a passion for. I enjoy sharing it with friends. I have spent many a late night. If it wasn't tabletop RPGs, it was all of us hanging out and like either one person playing a game or we had Smash Bros pulled up. So
the old Smash Bros, the most balanced fighter of all time.
Absolutely not.
So, and not to get too personal or nitty gritty, and then please let me know if it's getting too personal nitty gritty.
Yeah.
You said like playing video games with your dad and things of that nature. I think I'm definitely not the type of person that had an upbringing like that where my dad was into video games. My dad was definitely into cars and, you know, rock and roll music and, you know, like he was a nerd that grew up to be a greaser because he wanted to be the Fonz, I'm pretty sure. But, you know, to give a dated reference. But was that like that was video games something that your pops was like very passionate about as well, like even before like, you know, you came into the picture and things of that nature?
Yes and no. So like I think it started out as just something he did on the side, just as like, you know, we're in that generation where computers were really starting to kick off and video games were really showing up everywhere. So he enjoyed playing.
Years.
Yeah, exactly. And he was very much like a Rainbow Six or a Splinter Cell kind of person.
Yeah.
So he played a lot of that. But then I think once he saw how into it I was getting, he at least kept an ear to the ground in terms of knowing what was going on, so that way he could keep up or at least find a game that we could play together. So I think for him, like it started as a very casual hobby and turned into something that could be used as a bonding moment.
Cool. That's always nice and refreshing to hear.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's definitely things that like carried over from my pops and stuff like that. Like I enjoyed motorsports, as by the story told earlier today, and like music and stuff. But like, it's always interesting to see what connections people have with their parents on like interests and hobbies.
Now, my dad was also my taste in music because very similar, rock and roll, just where he stayed very old school. As I've talked a number of times, either here or at PAX, I'm pop punk as far as it goes.
Yeah.
Like, and that kind of stuck in high school and just stayed through the entire way. So, he kept very old school metal and just that kind of rock, whereas I went the pop punk direction.
Perfect. I mean that the natural progression, the teen angst in there, and things of that nature.
The angst never left, though.
It's always there with you. It's always there.
It's behind this. You get the cute face, and then it's just angst.
I literally was at karaoke and like sang like Jimmy Eat World recently. Things of that nature is, you know, Jimmy Eat World, all that good stuff. Everything excellent. Derek, take it away.
Oh man,
get us away from the angst.
Okay, cool. So, you know, you mentioned your fake OnlyFans, right? Quick question. Shut up, Google. Stop. So here's the question: what dinosaur would you get feet pics from?
Dinosaur I would get feet pics from?
Yeah.
Ankylosaurus, just because it's my favorite dinosaur in general. So like,
Ooh.
I think it's got a rounded foot. It'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
Wally, our producer and in-house producer, Wally, can you go ahead and bring up a picture of an Ankylosaurus for me, please? Thank you. You know what? I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yo, yeah, it's like front feet or like have toes all around.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yo, Wally, can you go ahead and bookmark that photo for later? Thank you. Awesome. Perfect. Well, okay. So, speaking of dinosaurs, how did you get your start in the TTRPG sphere, homie?
Oh yeah. So as a hobby, started. I mean, I was always a bit into like, everybody plays games as pretend as a kid. At least if you have a creative bone in your body. So I was always into more of the fantasy elements of things, and then in 2012, I was in high school, and a dear friend of mine, LJ. I know I just hurt so bad. I'm baby. But my friend LJ introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons, except we played second edition, even though 3.5 had been out for however long.
Yeah.
So we started a second edition game just as a try it out and see what happens, and I've been hooked ever since. And then as far as like turning dreams into revenue streams, which I stole from Joy, that started in 2019 when I learned about the RPG Writers Workshop and the Write Your First Adventure program that they had. And I was like, well, I have an adventure for Curse of Strahd that I could just write up pretty easily.
Yeah.
And that became Festival of Feathers, which is on DM's Guild. And then around the same time, I went to PAX Unplugged for the first time. And they did a DM's Guild meetup. And I was like, oh, people do this professionally. And like, I have enough ideas I could make this work.
Excellent. God, I love that. Okay, so a twofold question, because it kind of leans back on this, because I have my own opinions, much like most people do. What are your thoughts on Faco?
So like, I've always been the math nerd. Like, for reference, my college degree is in electrical engineering, so I've done the gambit. Thaco is one of those things where it makes sense when you look at it bare bones. In practice, when literally all of your other numbers count up, it makes no sense to have Thaco count down.
Yeah. You're mathing too much.
Yeah. You're adding an additional layer of math when you could just flip the number.
Yeah.
And then you're fine.
Amazing. Love to hear it.
It's a good concept. Literally every other system in the game would need to be flipped in order for Thaco to work.
Yeah. Makes complete sense. Tell us more about this RPG Writers Workshop as well. Like, it sounds very cool.
So it's a month-long program. There's a free track and then a premium track, and it's run by some very lovely people who are all very predominant artists on DM's Guild and Drive Thru RPG. Ashley Warren is the head of I believe it's the Storytelling Collective now.
Okay.
And basically what they do is it's an online class that you can take at your own pace, but kind of the idea is you take it over the course of a month, and you go through the writing process of writing your first adventure, from concept to understanding mood boards and how those work, to I think I did a whole section, because I still have the playlist for this, putting together a writing playlist, which I thought was super helpful. I do it for everything now.
Okay.
Basically just a playlist where the music is designed to get you in the mood to write that adventure.
Got it.
So it's a lot of those creative process steps that are built to get you in the right mind palace for it. And then from there, it's pretty easy to break down. Here's how to write the adventure. Typically a dungeon is 5 rooms and all of the typical tropes with that.
Okay.
And then pulling from your favorite media, videos to go watch if you need like advice on running that adventure or doing play tests on it. And then the final thing is doing layout, but in their case, they just do it in a Word doc.
Yeah.
but then DM's Guild also has DM's Guild and Drive-Thru RPG have plenty of templates you can use to throw in, like Adobe Designer or Affinity Publisher, any of that.
Wow. Okay. Wow. All right. That's actually very cool and very, 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 very awesome. We have a question in the chat, and remember, audience, if you do have questions for Brandon, please do hit in the chat. Be used to use your blessings down there to highlight them, so we can definitely see them easier as well. So this comes directly from the desk of at D&D Jordan Lee. I have a question from Care Bear Tiamat News. Which game do you prefer, Final Fantasy or Elden Rings, and why is it Final Fantasy?
I hate to tell Jordan she's wrong, but she's wrong. The answer is Elden Rings. As Final Fantasy as a genre is near and dear to my heart. My first one was Final Fantasy IV, which has Cecil in it.
Yeah.
But while Final Fantasy 13 is fun, I'm not an MMO person by nature.
Okay.
So it's one of those, I play it because everyone else is playing it. Whereas Elden Ring, Bloodborne is in my top 5. So having Elden Ring as the newest game has been very nice, and has also led to probably my favorite co-op run of a game ever, which I occasionally do on my Twitch channel, but it's been more of an off-stream thing.
Wild. Yeah.
And not to bring up the Care Bear in the room, but Jordan is referencing a boss I did for another one of her charity games, where I took Tiamat and just made all the heads different Care Bears.
For those at home that don't know what Tiamat is a dragon goddess that has 5 different heads.
Actually,
but
I have the picture.
Oh God! But you were telling me that you turned Tiamat into a Care Bear.
I did. I took the stat block and I made it a Care Bear.
Okay, that's cursed. That's cursed. I'm going to tell you right now.
It's very cursed.
It's cursed. Perfect.
That's all of my bosses for charity games. They have to be cursed. I took my favorite still is I took Sir Jester Zero Reynolds has a puppet named Oryx. And Oryx always comes up when a hype train happens on Twitch because that's the call of the Chew. And someone dared me to make a stat block, and I went, "You don't know what you just did."
Okay.
And so I waited until I had a charity game with Zero, and I brought out Oryx, the false idol of Chew, who was the Orcus stat block, but memey as hell.
Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Oh god. Okay.
See, here's the problem. You get a lot of information at once from me.
Yes. It's a lot to process. Okay, perfect. Derek, do you have anything to bring up on this? Do you have anything you're getting a lot of information thrown at you right now. Do you have any questions?
Yeah. I don't know what any of that was, but I inferred that it was nuts. So tell us about Huntsman Hydra, because
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. So Huntsman Hydra is a tabletop board game and trading card game channel that I co-founded with my wife, actually. Official marriage is in October, but beyond that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We've basically been married for 2 years already. It's fine. It's usually how that goes. But Huntsman Hydra is a channel all about promoting different types of games and try to do more than just your typical like D&D stream, which is like you gotta have one because that's where the numbers are at, but it's always fun to get to show off. Like we just premiered a Blades in the Dark show, and we have Swords of the Serpentine coming up, which is a gumshoe system game. And so for me, it was really about showing off those different games. We also have like Magic the Gathering on the channel because it's something a lot of us play. And it's been nice to be able to build up a community that like not only likes my stuff, but I'm able to show off like, hey, my friend Jamie is running Blades in the Dark. Come hang out. Or like, Ice Cold Brew spams our chat with itch.io links, and they're usually all fantastic games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that. Ice Cold Brew is the master of itch.io. If I ever need anything, I just shoot them a message, and I usually have 15 games in my cart by the end of it.
He's been dropping some in our Discord as well, doing
Yeah.
the Lord's work.
Yeah.
And harassing people's wallets.
Yes.
We stand at Ice Cold Brew. Go ahead and give him a follow here on Twitch and on Twitter.
Yes. But like beyond that, big picture 5-year plan, Huntsman's Hydra is going to be a brick and mortar tabletop store. Like,
Yo.
that is the goal. Is we're going to be not only like, you know, selling all of our favorite products that we see, but also we're going for like a coffee shop / bar vibe.
Okay.
So like, Wes, you know, Queen and Rook. Like we want Queen and Rook, but with more inventory. So
Queen and Rook.
basically, like you can hang out and play games, but we also want you to buy a copy of Blades in the Dark and then go run it in one of the private rooms. So like, do something like that.
That's a fantastic idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Where does the name come from?
Huntsman's Hydra is the name of the tavern from my 2nd edition game that I played. That very first game of Dungeons and Dragons. I had a human ranger named Wayne, who got a wish, and he wished for a bar with never-ending booze. And so then it became a tavern in his hometown, and he named it Huntsman's Hydra because just before then, we had also just fought I think it was a pyro Hydra.
Oh.
Yeah. So Hydras had been like in my brain for a while, and I was like, you know what? I'm a huntsman. We just killed a Hydra. Why not call it Huntsman's Hydra? And it's a multi-headed business that does anything under the sun, tabletop, board game, or card game.
Makes sense.
With
I'm back at
some food, because I like to cook.
I like to cook too. I was a chef for 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I sold my soul to the kitchen gods for a little bit of time, and then I got out.
Yeah, I have no professional experience.
Don't matter. But all that good stuff. I've got a very important question. Then we got some more questions from the chat here, and it does kind of have to deal with the human ranger technically. But who do you think wins in a fight between two fantasy greats, J.R.R. Tolkien or Toby Fox?
Toby Fox.
Yes, you think Toby Fox wins?
Toby Fox.
We're talking about a stand-up, like good old-fashioned slobber knocker.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess it depends on like when. Not to get too nitty-gritty, but like it depends on when we pull Tolkien from. Because otherwise, Toby Fox just wins because Tolkien's in the ground.
Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. It definitely tracks. Perfect. Excellent. Well, this next question comes from @CriticalK in the chat. Also, Critical K is one of our Comfort Club members. And do keep in mind, we have a lot of benefits for our Comfort Club members, and we are restructuring our benefits for our Patreon as well, so do stay tuned for that. But we just released the Session 0 for our upcoming series, Fables, Once and Future. So go ahead and check that out. It is available now in our Discord, and I'm making a post proper today on our Patreon, so go ahead and check that out. But @CriticalK asks, what would you say is your favorite independent TTRPG to play, and what is an independent TTRPG you have not but would like to try? 2-part question.
Favorite, Blades in the Dark, done.
Okay.
It's a solid system. It's something you can pick up and teach somebody in like half an hour. Maybe not do a full session, but you can at least get the gist of it. And apparently John Harper can run a mission in like 15 minutes.
That's
like, yeah.
That's wild.
But yeah, I love the Blades in the Dark system. One, for the inspiration it comes from. Like I have it up here. I have Dishonored. I have, and then behind me I have like Shadow and Bones.
Six of Crows by Leroy Dargu.
Yeah, Six of Crows. Darkest Dungeons is one of my favorite games, which is where you get a lot of that nitty gritty stuff. Bloodborne is another instance of it, and I love that like oil punk aesthetic that you can get out of it.
Yeah.
Along with that, Blades in the Dark is just really good about, even if everyone is playing the same playbook, you can have drastically different characters.
Yeah.
Which, depending on who you talk to for, say, Dungeons and Dragons, you don't, because there's the optimal choice.
Yes.
Which,
optimization.
Whereas Blades in the Dark, there is no optimal choice. It is just try to be good in as many things as possible, so that way if a roll does come up, you're not dead.
Indeed.
Now, indie tabletop that I haven't gotten to play yet. I mean, I'm going to butcher this name, but I am really interested in Yasba's Bed and Breakfast. Like,
oh, yeah. Actually, there's actually a Twitter thread that Jay Dragon has put saying that there's multiple different ways to pronounce her name, which is Yaziba's, Yazabas, you know.
Yazabas,
yeah.
Yazibas, okay.
Yeah.
I like, I haven't finished the series. I haven't caught up yet, but I know there's been a Bed and Breakfast series going on over here. And I've really enjoyed it. I haven't really gotten to do like a slice of life style game before. Kind of up there with it would be like Monster Hearts, which I haven't gotten to play.
Okay.
Which I think Sadie and I were talking about it during the Atlantis Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Because I was just like, you want a dorky flirt? Just hire this. That's all this is.
Got it. So you're saying that you're built for this. You're made for this. Perfect. Yes, I knew as soon as you said that at Critical K was going to lose their fucking mind.
Critical K, I'm Ashen_Works on Twitter. Hit me up.
Yeah. Wes, make this right. Hey, you are two consenting adults. You can play a game of Monster Hearts all you want to. Wes, make this right. Saying Wes makes this right. I'm a very busy person. Yeah. Don't put this on me, okay? I'm wearing a point.
Aren't we all at this point?
I know, exactly. We're all very busy people. Perfect. Okay, so what's some content that you want to get into creating this year?
Well, lucky for you, I have a list. I want to do more game jams. I'm doing my first one right now, and I'm really enjoying it just because I picked Lumen, which is by Spencer Campbell, Gilla RPGs on Twitter. It's really easy. It's a like up to 5d6 system, I think.
Okay.
And it's power fantasy. That's all it is. It's like there's a version of it that's based off Destiny called Light. There's another version based off Borderlands that was called Bullets, I think. It's usually like a simple one term. And I actually had an idea to take it and do like a Zagreus Hades run where you can have randomized levels and then your skills are like fight, looks, and God. So that way you hit like the 3 pillars.
Yeah.
Also, question for chat. I'm gonna interview chat. Meg or Than? Those are your options.
Oh yeah. Let's get Meg.
I'm gonna start a war.
Meg or Thanatos in the chat. I do want to keep in mind that I was in a Monster Hearts game over at Table Goth called Hades High School, where I did play.
You were, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, so that just keep that in mind. I know at Miss Petty Dreadful, Rachel played Meg, but I did play Thanatos, so that's just I'm the one that's doing this interview. So
yeah,
if anybody
no bias at all.
No bias at all. No, none at all. None at all. No, none at all. None at all. We have another question from the chat while they're starting to think about whether or not they want to pick Meg or Than. What a question. So we've got another one from at D&D Jordan Lee. This one comes in from Summon the Chew Times. What has been your favorite and least favorite thing you've unleashed upon the world with charity one-shots?
Ooh. Okay, favorite is more for nostalgic reasons. Was Strahd Lich, which is Strahd from the Curse of Strahd adventure, but kind of reborn as a Draco Lich, which is a dragon turned into an undead creature. That one was really fun because it is actually a monster I've had in my back pocket for about 2 years up until that charity stream.
Okay.
And for me, it was being able to just drop Strahd, and everyone goes, "Oh, it's Strahd. This is going to be really easy." And then you try to get close and realize he takes up about 3 times the amount of space he's supposed to.
Got it.
And then he just drops the cloak, and there's a giant dragon there.
Perfect. Perfect. That doesn't sound
So
terrifying at all. I'm sorry.
no, and I didn't scare Jordan, Duval, Rafiki, Zero, and Bill. No. Um, the I don't really have a least favorite. I definitely have some charity incentives that I've taken out of my bucket, just because they tend to not derail, but like cause more confusion than they're worth.
Grind thing.
And that,
Yeah, grind things to a halt, essentially.
yeah,
Yeah.
those are typically like pick a magic item for a player.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, they end up with something that's either not useful in the moment, or the person donating doesn't really know D&D enough to pick something.
Yeah.
So I tend to replace that with I have a preset list and I just roll. So things of that nature, just things that really slow down the pacing, because I feel like for charity games, you really want to be fast paced. You want the chaos to reign. And if you're not leaning into it, you're not having fun.
Perfect. 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 I completely agreed. Completely
Yeah.
agreed. Derek, you got anything to add to this? You got anything to say?
Man, like I just know we're gonna have a conversation after this, and you're gonna tell me a lot of shit because
Absolutely.
like this is the deepest it's gotten with TTRPG stuff for me.
Mhm.
And so like I got a lot of catch up to do and some homework apparently.
There's a good
But
person to talk to about it.
yeah. But so how does running like games on stream, like how's that different from running home games?
Ooh. So there's a couple different things. First off is the energy you are bringing to the table and you want your players to bring to the table, because it is a very two-sided conversation of that. Home game, very relaxed, very like, you brought dinner or someone cooked or you ordered pizza, you're hanging out, and a session can go for, 4 to I spent the night and we just played D&D. And
Yeah.
I think I've never had more caffeine in my life than that moment. But like it's very casual, it's very you are coming here to just hang out with friends.
Yeah.
And playing the game is secondary.
Yeah.
Because I've definitely had side tangent conversations that took 2 hours that could have been spent rolling dice, but we were having fun. Also, because of the physical nature of it, and I'm doing home game as in like in person, because there's also big differences between a home game in person versus on Roll20 or D&D Beyond or whatever virtual tabletop you're using, Alchemy RPG. But from there, it's a lot of like the maps can look like crap. The minis can be chess pieces or dice.
I know that very
And
well. Yeah.
yeah, like we bought, actually going back to dinosaurs, we had the kids tube of like dinosaur figurines, and we used those for horses and birds and whatever else we needed them for.
Okay.
So you can get really creative with like what you're using to actually build out your game. On stream, I almost exclusively run Theater of the Mind. If a map's involved, it slows everything down.
Okay.
Just because I would much rather a player tell me what they're doing, and then I'll do the math to figure it out. And if they are extremely far away, whatever.
Yeah.
Especially in a charity game, most of the time it doesn't matter. Along with that, you are on a time constraint every time. There is not a you're gonna stream for 6 hours because the session's that good.
Yeah.
It is people have schedules, people have things to do. You
Indeed.
have 2.5 hours. Get to a stopping point or call it. And yes, that. I don't know where I'm at on the overlay, but that. But yeah, so a there's a time crunch perspective to it. You want to not bog down your players with information.
Yeah.
Um, and there's also kind of an accessibility portion to it. Like I talk a lot and I talk fairly quickly. Being able to also type that out and give it to someone is a godsend in those cases, because like I have players who just don't understand me very well over the microphone, or like they have bad connections. So being able to type up that same thing or have it transcripted is perfect. And then I think you're also the style of game you're playing can also be different, because a home game you can do the big damn quest
Yeah.
or like do an adventure module with no changes. I feel like when you're focusing on a stream and something that is an entertainment value, you need to build something that your players are going to enjoy, that you're going to enjoy, and the audience is going to enjoy.
You're producing a television show.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. No, yeah, completely agree. That's excellent insight. Especially things that I've learned since starting streaming and like running actual plays on stream and seeing where we started with like Iron City by Night, our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, to like where we are now, where we have a Fables game and we've got Kingdom Hearts and things of that nature. So yeah, no, I completely get it. I've got a question, and then we've got another audience question here for you. So this is a very important question. Square or hex grids?
What's it for? Is my answer.
Square or hex grids? Make a choice or the cat gets it.
Oh no, not the cat. It's square. It's just
okay.
It's square.
Okay.
I love hex as a concept.
Okay.
But like everyone makes hex maps different.
Yeah.
So there's not like a consistency that a square grid will give.
That's a very interesting way to come about that, and I've not heard that perspective from it.
Because I use both. Like if it's an overworld map, it's hex all the way. I need to be able to show like you can go whatever direction you want. But if it's a dungeon, most people don't make good hex dungeons.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
Like
that's a hot take.
It is and it isn't. Like you don't have that mindset. When you think a dungeon, you think squares or rectangles.
Yeah.
The occasional circle, but even the circle is built in a way that like it will be symmetrical with the square grid. It's like everyone's playing Minecraft. Yeah, Dungeon Craft's a great example of this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I use both. It also comes down to what my players are used to. It's very hard to put a hex map in front of someone and for them to figure it out. Because sometimes they're just like, can I move diagonal? And I'm like, yes, you can. It's the exact same thing. They're just different shapes. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Interesting. This next question comes from @Occultist Anonymous in the chat. Obviously, I'm a bit biased, but if forced to pick, what Chronicles or World of Darkness splat would you prefer to play?
I've never played World of Darkness, so there's that.
Oh,
like any of it.
Interessante.
That if you want World of Darkness, hit up Mischievous Red, who's in the next room. And I was interested with Mage. Mage looked fun.
That's interesting that you bring that up, because Occultist Anonymous is really good at running Mage.
See, and like, I'm glad I'm on the list. I don't think I would like Vampire.
Okay.
I think like as a slice of life vampire kind of thing, I think I would enjoy it. I think my issue would be the like political mind games that are going on, because that's just not me as a person. So I have a hard time diving into that or enjoying it.
Completely agree.
So
my favorite, the one that I prefer to play but I don't get to play a lot, is Promethean the Created. I'm a big fan of like patchwork people, Frankenstein's monster, things of that nature. That's like my favorite Chronicles of Darkness one. I have to say, which is not a one that's not often played or brought up. So, yeah, that's interessante. And I want to get Derrick into playing World of Darkness. I don't know if or Chronicles of Darkness. I don't know if Derrick would want to play Changeling, which is like Fae stuff, or Mage, where you're a magic user, baby. What? Or Vampire, where you play a vampire, or Werewolf, where you play a werewolf, or Promethean, where you play a Patrick person, or Wraith or Geist, where you play a ghost, or Beast, where you play a beast, or Deviant, where you play an experiment, things of that nature.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of want to get Derrick involved though.
Is Demon also under this umbrella?
Demon is also under this umbrella. Yeah. Yes. Demon as well. And then Hunter as well, where you play the
Hunter.
Yep.
Which the new one's coming out. Soon.
Yes, very soon. I'm working on a project with Table Golf with that, and I'm very stoked. Yeah, excellent. Derrick, go ahead and hit us with another hard-hitting question here before we get to another one of my questions and one of these multitude of audience questions we have rolling in. You're a very popular bean, you know that, Brandon?
I'm glad other people think that.
Of course, yes.
All right, so if you can be dropped into any animated TV world, what would you choose?
Sorry, my brain just broke thinking about that.
That's a good fucking question.
I got two.
Okay.
I have one I think I would survive in, and one I think I would die in.
Okay.
So the one I think I would survive in is the time I got reincarnated as a slime.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I think if I went, well, technically I would probably, I think almost everyone in that dies to end up there. But I think in that case, it'd be like you come in, you get some cool powers, and then I'll just do the smart thing and not work for the humans.
Okay.
Because, oh my God. If I came in with any knowledge ahead of time, I would be like, no, you're bad for me. I'm going to go over here and talk to this slime that seems to know what they're doing. And then go from there. One I would probably die in, Log Horizon, because it's my favorite anime. I would get super cocky and I would die to like a level 5 pig or something.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, you big on the isekai stuff.
I am. It's been more of a recent thing. But like Log Horizon has stuck with me the longest just because it maybe lukewarm take. I think it does a better job of the video game thing than Sword Art Online. That's just me.
Everything does. But
well, that yes. But it's one of those that I just really enjoy because it's like it actually takes the basis of an MMO and makes it make sense for an isekai instead of just shoving it all after episode 3 until the hero needs a new power so they get the freaking developer console for some reason.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wild.
But yeah, those are my two. If I had to pick like an animated world, just because they'd be fun.
yeah.
While I'm there, they'd be fun.
Excellent. Hey, Brandon, what do you want to see more of in the TTRPG industry?
Okay, so I'm gonna go through my usual that I talk about on Twitter all the time.
Okay.
More diverse voices, better pay, and recognition for work are like my big 3.
Yeah.
The more fun stuff, I want to see more weird shit. Like, I saw an indie RPG where I play as Cerberus, but as a puppy. It's called Hellhounds, and I want this. And it's like a 1d6 system, and it's kind of Honey Heist-ish, but you play puppies. And I love seeing people's different takes on things. Like, I take Blades in the Dark as an example. I love Forged in the Dark games because everybody goes about it a different way.
Yeah.
And I want to see more things that are like clashes of genres.
Okay.
I guess is another way to put it. Like a project I've been working on is like a Bloodborne meets Inscription card game. but it can also be a tabletop game.
Interesting.
So there's the player versus player like card game elements that you
Okay.
would get.
Okay.
But you can also play it like a tabletop game where you bring in your deck and there's an adventure.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
weird shit. I want more weird shit.
Weird shit. I agree with you. More weird shit. More off the wall shit. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay. We have another question here that's coming from from the desk of at D&D Jordan Lee, but it's a question from Cat Parents Unite. What is your play style as a DM and a player? Do you find that you want to be more serious at tables or chaotic/silly?
So as a DM,
Okay.
I have definitely changed over the past, basically during COVID. I've almost completely changed DMing styles. At the beginning, I was very much like, this is the big damn quest, take it or leave it. We have some side quests, go about your business. As I've gotten more into streaming, I've definitely converted over to the like lean into your players, figure out what they want very quickly, and then bring that to the table.
Okay.
And both have their places.
Okay.
I've had way more fun writing 2 sentences worth of notes and then coming to a session and being like, okay, what do y'all want to do?
Okay.
And then going from there. There's also systems where that's easier than others, but
yeah, of course.
As a player, I like both. I like being serious and I like being chaotic and silly.
Yeah.
I think for me, you need a little bit of both to be a good player, because you need to know when to be serious and when to take things seriously.
Yeah.
And kind of going back to the home game versus a stream game.
Yeah.
Home game, 100% interrupt the big bad during the monologue. Do it every time.
Yeah.
Stream game, that is like your GM shining moment. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's happened to me so many times, even on a stream game.
Right.
People just let me talk. Let me say my shit real quick, dog.
Let me lore drop, and then you can kill him. I don't care.
Do you not want to know why I'm doing this? Like, come on. Like,
yeah.
Like, no. I just want that magic item that you got in your pocket, dude.
Exactly. That dagger you're using? I'll never use it, but I want it.
I want the loot.
Didn't we do that to you?
Yes.
Wes?
Yes,
we
you did.
Yeah.
You did that to me. You definitely did that to me. Everybody's like,
man.
"Oh, this guy talks so much," and I'm like, "Look, I know that you have to get to playing Animal Crossing after this, but like, come on."
So yeah, as a DM, definitely have something going on, but leave it up to your players, because your players, there's 4 to 5 people at a table, at least for me.
Yeah.
They're gonna come up with more shit to do than you as one person.
Yeah.
So, leave it to your players. They'll make up your story for you. Oh yeah, this tavern keeper seems like a red dragon. I'll go, okay, sure.
Cool.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
He's a red dragon now.
Yeah.
But he doesn't actually want to do anything. He just wants to bartend.
Yeah. Okay, next question that we have coming from me, and then we're gonna get through the rest of our audience questions. And Derek's got a big one. He's been sitting on. He's very, 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 very ready, I can tell. Are aliens far distant creatures from other worlds, or just humans from the far future meant to warn us of coming threats?
They're actually beings from far away, because humans aren't smart enough to go back in time and actually try to fix things.
Not right now, but maybe.
Interesting.
Interesting.
If the past 2 years are anything to go by.
Okay, I see your point. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Also seeing somebody's point, we have at Critical K with another question here. What advice would you give for someone who tried Blades in the Dark once and had a bad experience, but wants to try it again? TLDR on it being made character for a one-shot, and the scenario for it led to me having 0 applicable skills and just thumb up, but unable to make any move. That was that was the Astro Crag of sentences to work through, but I think we got the point across.
Okay, first, my heart goes out to you because I literally just had this happen to me.
Oh.
Like, you make a character for a one shot, and you get into the session, and you do nothing. You do nothing that's on your character sheet. You do like um, bare basic rolls, and then that was it. I did absolutely nothing that my character was built to do. So my heart goes out to you. Good. Okay. That being said, my first instinct, as the person I am, is to invite you to Huntsman's Hydra for a Blades in the Dark one shot.
Okay.
We actually have signups going up next week.
Okay.
Off stream, no commitments, yada yada.
Okay.
Second is definitely play with someone you trust. It didn't help that was a 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. game. God,
Yeah.
That's when the brain stops working for me.
Yeah.
It's either best writing ever or brain shut down.
Yeah, that's
it.
Holy hell.
So for me, it's definitely like that. Also comes down to session 0. Talk to your GM. Talk to your player. Hey, one shot should still have session 0s.
Yeah.
Like every single one shot needs a session 0. If you're not having one, there's a problem.
Yes.
Because you still need to understand what your players want out of the game, what you want out of the game, and lines of L's and all the typical safety tool things. Even if it's the 30 minutes before the game, like that's still plenty of time. Like that being said, I would say take that same character. Don't do any extra work. Take the same character, go to a different table. Like that's the simplest advice I can give. Don't do the same GM. Or if you do, you need to talk to them and say, hey, this is what this character is built for. Can we kind of bring this in so I can understand how it works?
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a con one shot. Hey, I'll give a quick story that's not really mine, but it's my partner's. PAX East 2020, so right before the pandemic. Mischievous Red went to a Vampire the Masquerade one shot and had a terrible time.
Yeah.
She is now on McStabber Studios playing Vampire every week.
Yeah.
It's one of her favorite games.
You
just gotta find a table. Yeah. Luck of the draw, you gotta find a table that works for you.
Yeah, exactly. This is all, you should be like George McFly. This is good stuff. You should write this down. That was all like very poignant, very good. I mean,
the VOD will be available. So
the VOD will be available immediately afterwards, as well as up on YouTube, probably within a week, depending on how well I do at editing. If I do a good job at my job, incentivize it a bit for me. And then we've got another audience question here at D&D Jordan Lee. This one is from Ashen is Great Tribune. What has been your proudest, most surprising moment in your streaming journey thus far?
Tabletop wise,
indeed,
being on front page was huge. Terrifying, but huge. And that was probably one of the best one shots I've run for a charity game. So like that just was tip of the iceberg for me as far as like greatest moments. Personal streaming, because like I do variety stuff on my own channel, not counting the subathon that was last week that I'm still recovering from, but probably a couple weeks ago I was just doing a random Star Wars stream, and I have a channel point reward for Hype Chenier, which is just like I hype up either you or someone else. And I got like 4 of them in a row, and I just went on for an hour about myself, my friends, Huntsman's Hydra, and it was a lot of like being able to reflect on how much has happened in the past 2 years was fantastic, and something that I keep as a video on my computer at all times now.
I like that.
That kind of became a culmination of moments leading up to that, but it was nice to see that I could go back 2 years and kind of what you were saying, look back at my first couple streams and go, wow, those were trash.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, every time, and it's like there's moments where you're like, and I'm still proud of like stuff that we've done before, but it's like it's good to look at that and be like, wow, like
Yeah.
that was the
I mean,
shittiest overlay I think I've ever made.
Yeah.
And then like going back to like the one that I have made for Fables, which is fucking dope as hell. I cannot wait for
Yep.
people to see it. It is
Oh.
like I think it's my best overlay that I've ever made. It's like holy hell, like I've learned a lot in like just over 2 years.
Well, like I just did the intro for Fire in the Dark, and I was like, I don't think I ever thought I would be able to do the video editing that I can do now. So yeah,
It's really
for
good.
me, it was just that reflection and being able to go, oh, like I'm actually doing this and like consistently doing it. That's different.
Yeah, yeah. That's it's good stuff. It gives me the heebie-jeebies,
Yeah.
the good kind of heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
Just like Amine sang about. Speaking of heebie-jeebies, Derek, hit us with this big question, this bombshell. It's kind of how we end all of our interviews with this big question.
All right.
All right. So, what things do you want to come from your time on Earth?
Oh. You know, there's the part of me that like wants to be remembered for the things I make and like the content side of it. But the other part of me that like I just want people to remember me for how I left them feeling, because like I myself as a person, I am always willing to hype you up, to pull you out of whatever sinkhole you're in. And I would much rather people just remember me for like the kindness and the things that I did to help people more than my content.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Very good answer. It's a really good answer. We have yet to get somebody to say hookers and blow, which is an interesting. We've gotten really good answers, and that's probably one of the best ones that we've got with that question. So awesome. Thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you so much for taking the time and talking with us this evening. Taking your Saturday.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, when you reached out and everything, when we had our interest form, I was like, yes, I would love to talk and learn more about you. You're such a fantastic person to get to know at PAX Unplugged, and I'm very glad that we got to know each other. And I hope that we continue to get to know each other and hang out, collaborate, all this good stuff.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Exactly. But the interview is not completely over yet because we do have our rapid fire round here. We have a series of questions that we have concocted that me and Derek are going to throw at you. Now, it is very important. It is very, very important that you answer as honestly as possible, but as quickly as possible. Not take too much time to pick an answer, because if you do take too much time, I'm going to rush you. I will find a way to rush you, and it will be very, like shocking. You're gonna be like, and you're gonna, so things of that nature. So we are going to go ahead and get started with that. So I got some music playing right here. Perfect. All right. So whenever we are ready, Derek, kick us off.
All righty. What social stigma does society need to get over?
Fucking anything to do with race. Come on, y'all. It's not that hard.
Pirates or ninjas?
Pirates or ninjas? Ninjas.
Best first date?
The one with my wife. It was an all-day event. We started with lunch. We went on a walk in a nearby park, and then we saw a really terrible horror movie called Ma. Don't watch it. It's not worth it unless you're like really drunk. And you figure out the plot in the first 30 minutes.
Amazing.
All right. Best drinking game to get to know new people?
To get to know new people, would used to say Cards Against Humanity, but now I play Red Dragon Inn. And anytime you have to take a drink from a card, you have to also take a drink.
Interesting. I'll have to write that down. What's the most expensive thing that you've ever broken?
Most expensive? I broke a $200 power supply 2 days after buying it. Yeah. And I couldn't stream for like a week.
Ooh. All right, top 3 Disney movies.
Big Hero 6. Oh, this is hard. Wally's really good. And I'm losing the name of it. It's the feelings one.
You're talking about
Oh,
Inside Out.
Inside Out.
Yeah,
Okay.
Inside Out.
Okay, good choices, good choices. All right, finally, lastly but not least, favorite song to sing in the shower.
That changes like every week. Right now, it's Cordial by Set It Off.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, that is it. Brandon, you've done it. You have survived through interviews, things of that nature. You've answered poignantly and earnestly. I hope so. And I think you've been a very excellent guest. So why don't you go ahead, before we get out of here, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where we can find you?
Sure. So the easiest place to find me is my link tree, linktr.ee/AshenWorks. But hi, I'm Brandon, aka Ashenworks. I'm the variety streamer here on Twitch, tabletop RPGs as well, and I co-founded Huntsman's Hydra with my wife, and we like showing off cool shit, and I like hyping up people. Need to do it more for myself, but that's why I'm here. And so check out Huntsman's Hydra, check out all of my stuff on DM's Guild, itch.io, all that jazz, and be sure to check me out on anything and anything, because like I'm a cool person and usually I'm surrounded by cool people, so like these two. But yeah, so that's about it. Otherwise, new projects get previewed on Ko-fi and Patreon first, and then they hit up the ashenworks.com website where you can do things like become patronized by a butter cow, or become an uwu barbarian.
An uwu barbarian.
All the powers are cuddles. They're all cuddle based.
Amazing, amazing.
Yes.
All right, all right. Well, go ahead. I've dropped the link tree right there in the chat, so everybody go ahead and hit up Brandon. Go ahead and buy his stuff on DM's Guild. Go ahead and check out his Twitter, Huntsman's Hydra, all that good stuff. Go ahead and check out their Blaze in the Dark game as well. And yes, please go give him a follow, support him, all that stuff like that. Hire him, all that stuff like that. And then okay, awesome. Before we go, I'm gonna let you know that we will be back next week with a very special guest. We have the very own. Couldn't imagine how we managed to like get him for an interview, but we somehow locked him down. Bully from Table Goth will be joining us next week, so go ahead and join us next week, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing some research, asking him some hard-hitting questions, and hopefully might get a straight answer out of him, though I highly doubt we will. I've heard that he is very, very secretive and hates everything. So, yeah, it's going to be a good one. All that good stuff. But before we go, my name is Wes. My pronouns are he, they. I'm the creative director and founder of Carrion Studios. You can follow me at ThirstTrapMoth on Twitter, at ThirstTrapMouthman on Instagram, and then, follow Comfort Carrion on Twitter, and hit us up for the rest of our program. And we have our schedule pinned to the top as our top tweet. So see what we have going on. We got Yaziba's Bed and Breakfast. We've got Carrion Comfort news tomorrow. There's a lot of big news that's happened this past week. So hop on, check with me and Zoe as we talk about the news. And then we also have Kingdom Hearts Interstitial Wars going through its 5-part finale. We have episode 3 coming up very soon, and it's going to be a doozy. Check out last week's episode. The VOD is up, and holy hell, y'all. Apparently, there was some sniffles going on, not only in the chat, but on screen as well. So go ahead and check that out. Derek, where can the people find you?
You can find me everywhere at the Phasing Octopus. Except for on Twitter, it's just Phasing Octopus. And on TikTok, Phasing Octopus 8 or some shit. But this week on Twitch, I will be working on some unannounced music projects. So come through if you want to listen to some shit before it even comes out.
There you go. There you go. Especially if you like electronic music. If you like a little bit of stuff like maybe like Kraftwerk, Aphex Twin, some noise stuff, go ahead and check that out because Derrick's music is very, very awesome. And also, Derrick has made it very clear to me before and to other people that if you need music composed for a sci-fi show or just like any kind of show that you have or on your Twitch or anything like that or your YouTube, go ahead and hit him up. He makes music, so he can compose music for him. Just go ahead and let him know what you're looking for, and he can take care of it for you real quickly. So yeah, go ahead and hit him up and hire him. And go follow him on Twitch. Go follow him on Spotify, and go buy his music at Bandcamp. The links are in the chat right there. You have no excuse, especially with Spotify being mostly free. You can still give him a follow, give him some listens and things of that nature. And then Twitch, follow is free. Go ahead and hit up all his stuff like that, and check out Bandcamp. You can listen to his music for free on Bandcamp, and if you like it, you can buy it. It's pretty simple. That is going to be it for us tonight. Like I said, check us out tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern for Carrion Covered News. Me and Zoe are going to be there with all the heavy-hitting news. We have a lot of stuff, including talking about John Wick 4 and unreleased pirate game coming from Ubisoft, and more tabletop and wrestling news. Big releases from NXT happened this past week, so go ahead and tune into that. We are going to be raiding over to Rolling D's 20s. That is a sister station to a good dear friend, Dimples and Dice Prince. They are doing their Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle Philly by Night. It is the original Rolling D's 20s, VTM John set in Philadelphia. So go ahead and hit them up and show them some love. We're going to be starting that raid soon, so do not go anywhere. Go ahead and stay tuned. Go ahead and give them a follow. Give them some love. We're going to be rolling on over into Rolling D's 20s. I've been your host, Wes, and for Brandon and Derrick, have a great rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your weekend, and do not forget, comfort comes soon, y'all.